Hi everyone, I am Yayati Gupta. I am starting with this brand new tutorial for to embark on a journey of learning how to analyze social networks with the help of Python libraries like NetworkX and iGraph. What we will be doing in these tutorials is to discuss what exactly are social networks, how are they analyzed, what kind of different properties do they show, some significant research which has been done in this direction, and in between all that explanation I'll interlace coding and hands-on here and there so that you get an understanding of how you can put a foot forward in this particular domain and start with your own research. All of you would have seen this picture, especially if you are a computer science graduate. You would have seen it in your discrete maths or graph theory classes, and I know that you know it. So these are the bridges of Konigsberg, which were analyzed by Leonhard Euler in the year 1736. So Euler used to live in the town of Persia, and he mapped out this entire town in the form of a graph. So as you can see that in this town there were 7 bridges which were connecting this river to the mainland. Euler represented this particular town, I would say rather the configuration of these rivers and the bridges with the help of a network as shown to you here. And he was trying to solve this problem: can one take a walk across this town in such a way that he crosses each and every bridge exactly once? And then with and then he proved theoretically that such a walk is not feasible. From that time, such kind of networks, they are known as Euler graphs. This led to the discovery of a all new field of study known as graph theory. People started expressing different kind of problems in terms of graph, and they started tried solving them. Problems such as traveling salesman problem, you would have heard of it, where one wants to travel across different cities in such a way that they could minimize their time or the petrol price. Even the scheduling of examinations or the processor scheduling problems have been expressed as the graph theory problems. Then uh, some of the interesting problems such as choosing the correct life partner have been expressed as certain problems in graph theory. So the field of graph theory mostly studies small networks, most of which have a well-defined organization or a well-defined structure. I would say these graphs are kind of uniform. But when we switch to this new area of social network analysis, we are more interested in studying the graphs which are found in our real life. Uh, Definitely, an example of such kind of graphs are the social networks which have been there ever since humans existed. So previously they were offline, and as the time is progressing, we have more online social networks. In addition to this, we have certain a large number of complex networks in our world, such as your brain, which is a network of neurons. You would see constellations, which is a network of stars. You would see food chain, rather food web, which is again a big network. Internet is a network. So we are going to see a few of these networks as well, and we'll try to analyze their property. What is interesting is, despite the different nature of these different kind of networks and different domains, all of them exhibit certain properties which are similar. So whether you are talking about the stars in the sky, or the neurons in your brain, or the people in a social network, they have properties which are similar. We look at some of those astonishing properties. I just start with a small question here. Here in this slide, you see two figures, one on the left and other on the right. So on the left side, you see certain students which are there in a classroom. On the right hand side, a certain bunch of people which are waiting outside a cinema hall to go inside. What is the difference between both of these scenarios, the one on the left and one on the right? I asked one of my friend about it. So before recording this, what does she think the difference between these two is? And what she told me was people in the left side. I'm sorry, the people on the right side they are waiting to go inside, and the people on the left side they are waiting to come outside. Well, that's a difference. But the difference I'm talking about here is, and what you would have noticed by now is that if you look at the people on the right hand side, they are disconnected people. They probably do not know each other. It's just a crowd. On the other hand, if you look at the people on the left hand side, these are the students in a classroom. So as they study together, they form some relationships between them, which can be a friendship relationship or an enemy relationship, or definitely a romantic relationship if these kids were a bit more elder. So the whole point is, as compared to a population, a network is the one which is formed by certain relationships, mostly between the people or between certain other entities, and these relationships impart certain properties to these individuals which were not there, certain power to these individuals which were not there when they were standing as a crowd, when they had no links. I'll give you some example for this. Assume you are in your fourth grade and there is this history lecture going on. You are about to doze off, and suddenly there is some malfunctioning, and your entire school is set on fire. Fortunately, all of you are evacuated, you, your teachers, principal, and now all of you are standing outside your school watching your school burn. Now, the objective is to save your school from burning. Maybe being a student you don't want to do that. Assume you are the principal of the school, you have put in resources in the school and you now want to save it. And in order to save it, there are a few resources there. There is a well about 500 meters away from the school, and you have a good supply of buckets nearby somehow. What all you need to do now to save your school is to go grab a bucket, get some water from this well, and spill it on your school. What is the best way to do this? Assuming there are, let's say, around 500 people standing there outside the school. So, what is the best and the fastest way to curb off this fire? So, everyone can take their own bucket, get some water from the well, and spill it on the school. So, is that the best strategy, and will it curb the fire faster? You might want to pause this video for a while and think about its solution. So when you'll think about it, actually you'll realize that one of the algorithms these people can follow is to stand in a queue from the school till the well and pass buckets to each other. So in this way, the entire process will be more organized. There won't be people running around with buckets in all the directions, and your work will be done quickly. So such a kind of network is called a bucket brigade network, as you can see in the figure on the right hand side. So previously this was an unconnected group, but when a task came into existence, people organized themselves into this kind of topology where every person is connected to one person on the left and one person from the right, and they keep passing on these buckets to each other. Let's talk about one more example. Assume that you are in a city which is not so well connected with internet, and not every home has telephones. There is some news breaking, let's say a school is shutting down or a new hospital is open up, and we want a strategy so that we can quickly spread this information to all the people in the city. How will you do that? And to do that, there is this particular kind of network which is called a telephone tree network. So again, in this bucket brigade network, there were 100 people and there are 99 ties between these 100 people. We now again take these 100 people and these 99 ties which were there in the bucket brigade network and organize themselves as a figure which is shown to you on the right hand side. So this figure also has 100 people and 99 ties, but this network looks completely different, and now it performs an altogether different task. Now it can diffuse an information relatively quickly. So this node in the center passes this information to these three people, who pass this information to the next three people, so on and so forth. What I want to convey from here is, so this particular example has been used by Dr. Nicholas Christakis in his TED talk on his book Connected: The Surprising Power of Our Social Networks and How They Shape Our Lives. It's a very inspiring talk, a very inspiring book as well. So I recommend, if you get time, to go through it. So, what is the objective here? What I want to say here is, so social networks are exactly like these elements in the chemistry. So, atoms, when they organize one particular way, they make something. When they organize themselves in another particular way, they make some other thing. As an example, if you take these carbon atoms and you organize them in a particular configuration, you get diamond, which is hard and shiny. If you take the same carbon atoms and organize them in another way, it makes graphite, which is soft and dark. Both of them have entirely different properties. Keeping these things in mind, I'll now shift to our first hands-on, which is very simple, where we will just look at using a Python library, how can you make such simple graphs. So let's try to make a bucket brigade network with the help of our NetworkX library in Python. I'll shift to an editor over here, and I'm going to remove all this existing code. So for doing this code, you should have Python installed in your system, and in this particular example, we'll be using two libraries, which are NetworkX and Matplotlib. So whatever editor or compiler you are using, you can install these two libraries and get started with it. We are going to use this NetworkX library, so I'm just going to import it here as NetworkX. And for visualizing our graphs we use this library Matplotlib. I'm also going to import it here. Now what we want to do is, we want to make a bucket brigade network. Let's say again a network which has 100 nodes and 99 ties. In order to do that, first of all we need a graph. So we'll make an empty graph, and then we will add nodes and edges to this graph. I'm going to create a graph here. This is the command here to create an empty graph. So when you write NetworkX, so the alias for this is annex here, annex.graph. So it here creates a graph with 0 nodes and 0 edges. Okay. What I can do is, I can first add 100 nodes, and then I can add 99 ties between them. Rather, what I'm going to do is, I'm directly going to add edges in this network. So assume that you have a network, an empty graph, and I am here trying to, let's say, add an edge here. So this is the function for adding an edge, and let's say I write g dot add edge 0 1. What it tries to do is, it tries creating an edge from your node 0 to node 1, but currently my graph is having no node, so there is no node numbered 0, no node numbered 1. In this case, what the graph will do, if the nodes are existing, it will create an edge between these two nodes. In case the nodes are not there, it will first create these nodes and then add an edge between them. So what I'm directly going to do, I'm going to run a for loop here, which adds the required edges. I'm having a for loop here from range, let's say, 0 to 100. So it's going to run from all the way 0 to 99. And at every step, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add an edge here. So since it is Python, you need to take care of the indentation. And I'm going to add an edge from I to I plus 1. So what's going to do, in the first iteration, it will create an edge from 0 to 1, then from 1 to 2, so on and so forth. And in the last iteration, it will create an edge between the node 99 and the node 100. I'm done. And in every iteration, it will create the required nodes also. So I'm done creating my graph. Now I want to see this graph. The graph is created. So to see a graph in Python, we have a function which is annex.draw, and you can pass your graph in this. To look at this graph, we use plt.show function, and here is my most simple code ready. I'm just going to execute this code and see how our network looks like. I'm using Python 3, and this is the name of my file. Yeah, so if you see here, I get a graph. You see the nodes in blue color, which are connected by the edges in black color. The graph doesn't look very nice. I'm not sure how many nodes are there. I want to do certain changes to this graph, so let's go ahead and do them. The first thing one would want to see here are the labels of this graph. So since we have nodes numbered from, I think, 0 to 100, so there is a slight difference here. We have, I think, made a graph on 101 nodes. So if I want to keep it limited from 0 to 99, what I can do is I can just change it with 99 here, so that I have exactly 100 nodes here. Rather, let me make it from 1 to 100, right? So the first time it adds an edge from 1 to 2, and in the last iteration it will add an edge from 99 to 100. So I'll have exactly 100 nodes and 99 ties. Let me go here now. I want to see the labels of this graph, so I'm going to set here a parameter which is named with labels equals to, and I'm going to set it true. I'm done. Assume that I'm not liking these nodes in the blue color. I want to make them red. Let me also do that. So you can again do that with a parameter called node color equals to, and you can pass the value of this color in the quotes. So just go there and execute it. So now you see here my nodes have turned red in color. It starts from 1 in a bucket brigade kind of topology. Every node is connected to one on the left and one on the right, and you go all the way to 100. I'm done. Okay, now you can also try different kind of layouts here. So this one you see is a random layout, so nodes can be placed anywhere in this entire portion. There are certain things you can do with this graph is, let's say if you want to see a particular portion, as an example, look here. So you might have a confusion, is this 46 node somehow connected to this 30 node? So you can just select this portion, zoom in, and you can see that there are no connections except for the consecutive nodes. We can just go back from here. Okay, what you can do here is you can try some other modes of visualization. Let's say one very famous one is circular. So if you want to see your nodes arranged in the form of a circle, just use it, and you see all the nodes connected in a circle, although they seem like there are no edges between them. So if you want to validate them, I'll just zoom in a portion and see that they are connected. There are many more layouts such as spectral, shell layout. Uh, such kind of layouts are actually called force directed graph drawing. I'm not going into details of them. What they try to do is they try to lay out your graph in an aesthetically pleasing way, such that your edges have equal length and fewer crossings between them, so that you can view the graph in a better way. So there is this one particular layout I am going to try here. It's a Kamda Kawai. So I think this Kamda Kawai here are the name of researchers which have defined this kind of layout. And if I just execute it, so you'll see altogether different kind of a graph here, which is trying to put it in the best possible way. You can also manually set here the positions of the nodes. Again, I am not going into details here before because we have a lot to cover. So you can just check online for the documentation of NetworkX. You can set here a variable named POS, where you can give the X and Y coordinates for your different nodes in the graph, and then you can use this POS as an argument here in this annex.draw function. So in case you want you want to absolutely define what should be the positions of different nodes in your network. So these are just for the visualization purpose of a graph. Sometimes most of the times a graph which we are analyzing have millions of nodes, and it becomes very difficult to directly visualize them with these functions. So in such cases, these force directed graph drawings are quite useful. So this was our first hands-on, where we looked at how can you make a very simple network in using your network X. In the Next video we'll look at certain predefined functions which make your specific kind of networks.